Welcome to episode 3 of Psycho Pass. Last time was much more low-key than episode 1. I went after a much less violent criminal, learning a little bit more about Akane and about the world, and it's really interesting. So, can't wait to see where we go from here. She had a really good conversation with Kogami at the end of the last one. Makes me curious to see what their relationship will be like going forward, so we're going to watch it and discuss. I have the subtitles and the timer on the screen if you want to follow, or you can pull up the episode on your own. But either way, let's watch episode 3 in 3, 2, 1, play. Starting with the gym. Kogami getting a workout after getting up out of bed after being down for a couple days. Damn, keeping himself in shape. Nice. Drank like one sip and then the rest. That's fine. Okay. Whoa. A lot of stuff on the walls. Is this all about Makishima? You've wasted your water, you've wasted your cigarette, you've wasted your wall space. But anyway, so yeah, clearly this is one thing that he is very obsessed with. Just saw a little bit of that in episode 1. He mentioned last time that can't die yet, there's something he's got to do. So yeah. While the OP is playing, let me say that if you enjoy these videos, subscribe to the channel. Psycho Pass comes out every Wednesdays, along with other videos every single day of the week. Also, check out the description down below. There's Twitter and Discord if you want to come hang out, and Patreon if you want to support the channel and get these videos a week early, or even earlier than that, and get vlogs and polls and all that stuff. Thank you very much. So yeah. Listen to this OP again. I like it pretty decently. It's pretty good. So no idea what we'll get up to this week. This episode. I just want to see more of this world. It's really cool. See a bit more of the enforcers in action. I've had quite a bit of her working with Masaoka, but, see a little bit more of the girl, maybe. Yayoi, I think is her name. I haven't really seen too much of her. Well, that's not good. Really? That seems a little unusual, yeah. Okay. The one area with human interference. Okay. Very full-time job. So you think that's what's happening? Somebody's tampering with the drones. Yeah, right now seems like a pretty straightforward police case that you would see in any show. Like what's the deal with the crime coefficient stuff? Why can't you just check them? Okay, well that's good. I don't think he much cares about that. I don't believe he sees them as colleagues. He sees them as the ones on his leash. Okay, telling her not to make a mistake here. I don't like the look of this guy. He did it. Alright, this is the one area where humans are involved. Yeah, there's a lot of moving parts. That sounds awful. Sounds like a really shitty place. Real shitty job. This guy's face and the close up on it for so long, don't trust him. Don't like him. Yeah. And these people are not supposed to go crazy? Alright, let's watch it. Yeah, he was definitely dismembered. Yeah. Guy died with that horrible look on his face. So he seemed fine. But what about the other ones who died? Is there any connection between the three of them? But how, like, have there been deaths like this in the past? It's just like suddenly this year alone there have been 3. Has anything changed about the way you're working? If not, it would seem to be murder. Okay. Guess we'll gotta figure out what the hell is going on here. Alright, let's see him. Okay, so everybody seems to be in the clear. So there can be people... Well, I don't know. I don't know what the actual solution to this is. But if somebody's behind it, it seems like there can be someone who commits a crime without having their psychopaths being off the charts, you know? Yeah, well, you've had 3 deaths, so, you know. He's twitching. He's twitching and he's sweating. I don't like him. Okay. Prove that it was a murder first. He's making them go through all these channels. Sounds suspicious to me. Alright. Of course. They don't really care. They want to keep the conveyor belt running. That's true as well. But that's not good enough. Okay, so it doesn't analyze everything. Got it. Here we go. syncs up to its user. So yeah, by using these, whoa, why is it because of the interference in this building? That's why they said we have to take everybody outside. Yeah. Totally isolated. Doesn't check the full crime coefficient. Again, kind of a shitty place. So they fully do not believe that it was an accident at all. Well, good to know. As soon as I saw the guy, I knew something was up, so I guess I'm a latent criminal too. Fantastic, I'll take it. So yeah, they're doing actual detective work while Akane just doesn't really know. Right? What do they do? How do they spend their time? How do they not go crazy? What? Hello. Alright, bye. Choosing some weak links to pick on? Called him yellow-green. They have to find their own ways to entertain themselves. Alright, and if it gets too bad, they isolate him, and they just... This is his role. Wow. So you just watch and let it happen, because that's just what's best for the good of the whole. It's real shitty. This poor guy. Now it seems like he might be the culprit, getting revenge on the guys who bullied him. Hello, on that face. So, instead of being reassigned, someone's hue has been getting cloudier and cloudier and has stayed here to the point where they started killing. Sure seems that way. Unless we get a last minute little twist, but it sure seems like it's him. So it's not like terrible, and it's been improving, but it's still the cloudiest. Yeah, sure, all the signs are pointing to him. Why doesn't it? That actually makes perfect sense. Because he felt better that one of the guys who were bullying him fucking died. He took out his stress on his fucking abuser. Yeah, doing your job. Being a detective. That's literally the craziest thing I've ever heard. What are you fucking talking about? Alright. You doing your detective work, that's the dregs of society. Fucking... I guess we just won't think about it. We'll just sit here and not be detectives. It's fine. Right? We should, like, act and like do things to progress the job rather than do nothing. I don't know about that. I think he's just a dick. He does not agree with her decision. Okay. I'm sure she will. Sure she will learn, but let's see what happens. She did. Well, I don't know about that. Maybe at the start? I don't know. We're talking. We're talking. It's fine. So get the hell outside. Okay. I see the strategy. Nice. Lure him out. Lure him to the entrance. Oh my god, look at his face. He is desperate. Or, okay, I was thinking they were trying to lure him to the entrance, but they're luring him to try to see if he tries to kill Kogami. Johnny Mnemonic. Okay, well, we've got you red-handed, punk. If not, a drone is going to come after us. Oh, there you go. Alright, the chase is on. We've got a madman chasing them on some robots. It's crazy how, like killing people brought his hue down, made it less cloudy. Whereas you have somebody like the guy in episode 1 who was completely clouded before he had done much. When this guy has killed 3 people and his is less cloudy, that's just how the judgment works because he took out his stress by doing it. Yeah, he was clearly willing to do that. Now we got it. Here he comes. What's the plan? Exactly. I see. To get the Dominators working. Take the shot. Nice. $265. Okay. But not explode enforcement action. Shit. Nice move. This thing's still after him, though. What the hell is it? This thing's gonna blow up majorly. Oh, nice. Okay, cool. I'll shoot some big-ass laser through it. That works. It's cool that it can target non-living things, too. That's badass. Like, all the effort they put into the animation and just the design of the Dominator when they didn't have to at all. Well, we got our man. Looks like the end of that one. See if there's anything after the ED. Probably not. No. Okay, let's talk about it. All right, episode 3. This is a very simple one. It's just showing this case that they go on, which is a very simple case. The actual mystery and police work surrounding it isn't really the focus. It's mostly just on showing more of the Sybil system and how the society works. With the case itself, as soon as you meet the guy who did it, it's like, oh, well, there you go. I mean, the guy who came out to greet them at first was super creepy and off-putting, but then we find out, not because he's a killer or anything, as soon as we meet the guy who's being bullied, it's obvious, like, okay, unless there is some last-minute twist, well, clearly he did it, and we know exactly why, and that makes perfect sense, and then that is the case. That's not the point of the episode. The point is just the situation and how it came to be because of the result of how this system works. So it's definitely the least interesting of the first 3 episodes, but I did want to see stuff like this. Just different types of cases in different locations with different types of people to see different aspects of how the system works in the society. So I'm still glad that we got to see something like this, that we have this facility that these workers are working at, like, tirelessly around the clock, doing this shitty job. Like, they're cut off from the outside world. It's this live-in place. They have a way to like detect the cloudiness of their hue, but not like an actual full-on scan that would tell them their exact crime coefficient, the same way the Dominators are able to. Which is cool to learn more about that like the Dominators are the way to just kind of get a shortcut to that rather than having to go get a scan somewhere else. But everybody seems fine. There's one guy who's like cloudier than others, but he's not too bad, and he's actually been improving recently, but he was the one who ended up doing it, which is really interesting to think about. Like, killing actually brought his hue down. It made it less cloudy because it relieved his stress. So when you think of the guys from the other 2 episodes, like in episode 1, the guy was scanned on the street randomly, then he went off and did some crazy shit. Didn't kill anybody or anything, was very horrible to this woman, but before that he hadn't done anything, and then after that he hadn't gone as far as to like murder. And then the guy in episode 2, he didn't do jack shit. He didn't do a single thing. But this guy, who has murdered 3 people, you know, his hue's not looking too bad, which is a really interesting way that the system works, just because it's measuring your stress level, and upon killing, it actually brought his stress down, because he felt catharsis for getting revenge on somebody who had wronged him. So yeah, we see his crime coefficient eventually, which is like way up there. I think it was almost at the lethal levels, but not quite, so he still got paralyzed. But yeah, just the fact that you have these places where they can't tell exactly. The Dominators don't work inside them. It's a place where you kind of have to be like a detective and do like your job, you know? But no, it just kind of, like I said before, it's not so much about making choices in this society and thinking for yourself and discerning, maybe this guy did it, maybe these were his motives, we're going to investigate that and look into it. It's just point the Dominator at the guy and do what it tells you to do. And that's the end of it. But then in this place where you can't do that, somebody like Ginoza is like, Humphrey, while they're trying to actually do some detective work. Because it's obvious to them. The show doesn't present it as a mystery. After they meet this guy, they're like, so it's that guy, right? And they're like, yeah, duh. So they know because they fucking thought about it for 2 seconds. Which is apparently just a horrible thing to do. Like, in a way, I get partially where Ginoza is coming from. Like, you need evidence for these things. Like, don't necessarily go off and do some crazy shit just because you think this is the case. Like, we do need evidence for it. But also, like, do some detective work. Like, craft some theories. Try to use some logic and figure things out. And, you know, do the job. But a lot of his agitation seems to just come from his issues with the enforcers themselves. Most specifically, Masaoka, apparently. I didn't really necessarily pick up on that, but Akane seems to have. And she raised the question with him, which did not go over well. He intimidated her quite a bit, and the other enforcers, but clearly he looks down on them. He prides himself as just being loyal to the civil system, it seems, and he does not appreciate working with latent criminals as far as we can tell. But I guess there's something specific with Masaoka, and he does refer to him differently. Like, the other ones call him Ginoza or Gino, and Masaoka calls him by his first name, Nobuchika. So clearly there's more of a history there, and maybe they're closer. Masaoka was close to him at some point. I mean, I don't know when he was pinged as a latent criminal, but I don't know, maybe before that happened, they worked closer together back in the day. I'm not really sure, but either way, he's got some issues there, and he was just being a hoity-toity dickbag a little bit, and I wasn't a fan of him. But yeah, this facility is kind of just like a microcosm of the society as a whole, whereas the society will sacrifice, like, the dregs of society will sacrifice the few people who are not going to work well within its system in order for the whole to function, for the greater amount of society to function. This facility was doing the same thing, whereas normally this guy is getting bullied, we try to stop that, try to get some help, but instead of doing that, they say, well, this guy is the sacrifice to make everybody else happier. They are willing to sacrifice the few for the sake of the many. He may have even been put there for that purpose. Like, his aptitude test may have chosen him for this job because it knew he could be the punching bag for these guys, and then that's just his purpose in life. And that's really shitty, but this society has deemed that that is just because it's for the benefit of more people, for his bullies, for his abusers. So they just get to, so they do that, they just find a target, they pick on them until they can't take it anymore and they get sent somewhere else. But this guy wasn't sent away, and it got to the point where it boiled over and he fucking started killing them. So again, it's just like episode 1, like, this happened because of the system. The system is trying to do these things to make it better for the greater amount of people by saying, like, we'll pick on this guy so that all these other people are happier. But because of that, because of them picking on this guy, he killed them. Like, maybe if that didn't happen, if they were all more equal, instead of them all being up here and him being down here, maybe they all would have been less happy as a whole and more stressed out, but maybe none of them would have gotten so bad that it resorted to murder. It was a cool chase scene at the end. Cool on them, getting the Dominators to work, getting the guy where they wanted him to be, taking him down. I didn't think the Dominator would be able to target things like robots, but it can. It can still assess the threat level, even from non-living things, and just blast holes through them, which is pretty awesome. And I love the Dominators, they're so cool. Like, the team behind this show could have just made them guns and they just shoot a laser. But they really went all out and put a lot of effort into that, into the design, the animation for when it changes and everything. It's so cool just to watch it shift and morph when they didn't have to do that at all. They could have just made it a gun, but they made it do all this crazy shit that looks really awesome. And Kogami being involved here and taking charge in the case and acting the way he was, like bossing the guy around, tossing him out of the bathroom stall and getting him where he wanted him to be, and acting like this hunting dog, despite what he said before, wanting to be a detective. He was able to think and use his head and do some detective work, but kind of with a hunting dog mentality, where he's just like, I'm gonna get this guy, and I'm just gonna viciously not give up. I'm gonna take him down, because clearly he's got this obsession with Makishima. I don't actually know if that scene at the beginning of episode 1 was a flashback or a flash forward, but either way, he obviously knows this guy, and he's got some grudge against him that he's obsessed with, and is just real focused on that, like this dog hunting its prey, and that kind of carries over into his other cases too, despite maybe wanting to be a more calm, straightforward detective. He can't really control those urges, it seems. But yeah, this just goes to show also that again, when it comes to like decision making and making your own judgments, you know, instead of looking at, oh, there's suddenly 3 deaths this year, I wonder if that's suspicious. They're just like, nah, like his hue's fine, the hues are fine, seems like an accident, so guess it was. You don't have to think, you don't have to make decisions for yourself. It says the hues aren't cloudy, so therefore it's okay. Not really a good way to go about doing business. And also, just about, speaking of business, just talking about how these kinds of places work. Like, they want it to just be ruled as an accident as soon as possible, get you out of there. They don't care about the truth of the matter. They don't care about the safety or well-being of their workers. They care about the product and the money that they're making. They just want to get this all done real quick. We could just take them outside and scan them, and then there you go. You have the answer. But no, unless you prove that it was a murder, and no, that'll stop production, so we're not gonna even do that. So yeah, not as interesting of an episode, but it still has some interesting aspects of the society that are fun to think about. And Ginoza is a dick. He's just kind of indoctrinated into the Sybil system, it seems. He's just way into that shit. Kogami was pretty fun. I like Kagari's like purple socks or whatever. And yeah, still enjoyable. We'll see how it goes with Akane getting close to the enforcers. Obviously, she treats them like people, and Ginoza thinks that that's a bad idea. He would rather her just listen to him and learn from history rather than making the mistakes for herself and having to learn from that. But I'm sure her getting close to them will probably be beneficial to her in the long run, and she'll probably be proven right in that when you actually experience these things for yourself, you can learn the truth about them. History in this sense might not always be completely accurate. What you think you understand about it, at least, might be wrong, and then you try for yourself, and then you see what it's really like, and maybe he can come around someday. So let me know your thoughts on this episode. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, subscribe to the channel. Check out the links down in the description. Much appreciated, and I will see you guys next time.